Where's Kev and his paper aeroplane?
It's at the other end, lads. He's got to score at the Kenilworth end. Away.
Boo!
Listen, mate. If you can build me a paper aeroplane that gets from the Kenilworth end to the Oak Road, I will gladly
There's
throw
a
it.
challenge, people.
I will gladly throw it.
Engineers out there, get on it.
Absolutely no problem.
No clean sheets ever again. If that's going to be the case, attack them. And we did.
Yes, okay, defensively at times we were basket cases. I mean, spoiler alert, that's game 38. You've seen it 38 times. 6 shots on target in that first half. That's more than we've had in 30 games in total this season. That's a lot.
What, combined?
No, not combined, but it could easily have been combined. Certainly, I could combine a healthy chunk of them and not get to 6.
Not a penalty in real time, not a penalty on replay, or the second one, or the third, not a penalty. We got away with it. We've absolutely robbed them there.
And I don't care how it looks on Saturday, but if we can win on Saturday, we'll introduce the cat to the pigeons, won't we?
I had fun, and that's the main thing.
The town recorded back-to-back league wins for the second time in 2026 on Tuesday night when we beat Exeter 3-1 in an entertaining evening of football. Alongside me to look back on that and ahead to the Stockport game is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, you know what they say about winning podcasts? They're like London buses.
Set piece again, ole ole.
Indeed so, yeah. We'll go through all of those set pieces and everything else right after this intro. Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast. Once again this season the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As we said before we played you the intro, we are looking back at Luton 3, Exeter 2, and we're going to look ahead to the Stockport game all in one podcast, and Jimbo is alongside me to do that for the next hour or so. Jimbo, good to win another game of football. I did my instant reaction. What did you make of it, mate?
I had fun, and that's the main thing. I thought the first half was a bit topsy-turvy. They had some periods, we had some periods. We scored 3 goals, got a penalty we didn't deserve, scored one at a perfect time just before half-time, and then we played really well in the second half, but didn't actually score a goal in that period. So it was a very bizarre game, but an enjoyable one because we gifted them 2 goals again. But we've said in the past, if we're going to do that, and it looks like we are, it looks like we're never ever not going to concede goals in a soft way. No clean sheets ever again. If that's going to be the case, attack them. And we did.
We did indeed, yeah. First time since Leyton Orient came here that we scored 3 goals in the first half of a league game. And yeah, I mean, I had fun too, Jimbo. People out there who didn't have fun last night, I'm assuming are either not allowing themselves to have fun because they want to be negative still, or, I don't know what the or is really, or, they just expect perfection. Well, you're not going to get perfection. Just look at the 11 that's on the pitch. They're not going to deliver perfection. They're also not going to deliver perfection when this is whatever it is, a 6th game in a stupid amount of time. But I'll repeat, we won.
Well, you don't get extra points for being perfect, do you? You've got to win the game. We said that. You won the game. 6 points on the spin. Move on to a very, very important game, which suddenly becomes a lot more important other than sort of just a dress rehearsal for a trophy final. And who knows? I'm not saying we're going anywhere. I'm not saying this is going to be it. This is the start of a run. It's going to take. We're going to need to win like 80% of our matches from here on in, probably. That's on a normal season, really, on the average of what getting 6th place in League One means and what the points total means. But maybe not in this division. So who knows? But you can only beat teams in front of you, and we did.
Absolutely, yeah. Repeat what I've said in previous podcasts when we've won games. You can be cheesed off with the season. Don't think we deserve anything, etc., etc. But you can also still enjoy when we win a game of football, because in the last 3 years it hasn't happened anywhere near often enough, let alone 2 of them in the space of 3 days. So, yeah, we're going to enjoy away. I thought we played some really nice stuff last night. I really did. Yes, okay, defensively at times we were basket cases. I mean, spoiler alert, that's game 38. You've seen it 38 times. You know, if you haven't got used to that expectation yet, I don't know what's keeping you. But going forward, I thought it was some of the best stuff that we've played for a while. 6 shots on target in that first half. That's more than we've had in 30 games in total this season. That's a lot.
What, combined?
No, not combined, but it could easily have been combined. Certainly, I could combine a healthy chunk of them and not get to 6. But that in itself says how well we played in that first half. Did Exeter play well in the first half? Yeah, they did. Absolutely. They passed it around nice. That's no surprise. That's what Exeter do. But thankfully, their end product was on the bench for an hour and ours wasn't.
It was a bonus, that. Yeah, I mean, they did exploit the fact that we're playing 3 at the back and there's more space on the flanks, which is the pitfall of that.
Which is why I hated this formation.
It's the pitfall of that formation, and they exploited that. And at the point that they scored their goal and were looking like another one, Niskanen was having a lot of joy down the right, acres of space. So, I mean, that's got to be sorted out in either working out better wing backs that are more suited to that position, or ideally not playing that formation. But we've been there a million times talking about that situation. And they did play some really good stuff. You've got to hand it to them. But we scored 3 goals. I mean, if you can play badly and score 3 goals in a half, my half-time cup of tea tasted really nice.
I'm glad about that. We didn't play badly in the first half. We defended badly in the first half. We played some really, really nice football. Some of the interplay, any time that the ball went through Casey Palmer, it was lovely.
I should say, yeah, played badly according to your mate on the internet. But, I had fun. What more do you want? I've been crying out for it, calling out for it. And they delivered a really good, in places, performance.
Yeah, they did. Crikey, there's been enough turgid 1-0 wins this season that we've had to endure and enjoy at the same time. Let's enjoy a fun one, and credit to Exeter for making it fun. I thought they'd come and sit and park the bus and hope to avoid getting beaten.
Well, particularly when we saw that Wareham, their top scorer, was on the bench to start with. I thought, well, they're just coming for a point, aren't they? Yeah. Really, at best. But they played really well, made for an entertaining game, and it shows that when a team does that against Luton, we can't play better against a team that wants to come and play. There was the low point of the low block. Rotherham couldn't get past them whatsoever. But then if a team comes out and wants to play, and they probably have to get more points to steer away from that relegation zone, as well as them being Exeter, one of the best traditional footballing teams in that division. Yeah, it's the old boxing thing, isn't it? Styles make fights.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And let's say there's more styles like that for the remainder of the season, whether we get to where people want us to be or whether we don't. The main thing is that we carry some momentum at the end of this season into next one, come what may. Just the one change to the team sheet. Has the Tinker Man stopped tinkering?
Yes, maybe. We've got to have a bigger size of games to judge that on, but he's seen a team that's performed well at the weekend to get a victory and end that away to Hoodoo, and then he's really only been forced into one change because Nicky Wells is not fit. And I asked him about him afterwards, and he said not as bad as we thought. So I don't know what that means, but better than maybe out for the way past the final anyway.
Well, when you consider that they've ruled Ted and Mengi out for the season for the same injury. Okay, he went under the knife, and obviously Wells isn't going to do that. It kind of offers up hope that Wells will be back at some point, and we probably need it because we are starting to run low on striking output at the moment, aren't we? With Elijah limping a little bit towards the end as well. We'll come on to that in a moment. So yeah, Devante Cole for Nicky Wells was the only change. No change in structure, no change in positions in that structure. Literally just a like for like, Cole for Wells. And although Exeter were passing the ball nicely, it was the Town who took the lead. If you saw Casey Palmer's goal on Saturday, if you watched it in a mirror, you saw Casey Palmer's goal last night, because it was the Liam Walsh corner to Casey Palmer at the front post, and Casey Palmer once again, with lots of space to him, just nodded in. It's the most simplest corner you'll ever see in your life, and we've scored from it twice in 2 games.
Beautiful, wasn't it? And 3-3 from him now. And the only thing I was thinking when he got that in was, where's Kev and his paper aeroplane?
There is a lot of people that asked me if I've sorted that. It's at the other end, lads. He's got to score at the Kenilworth end. If he scores at the Kenilworth end, I'll make my way.
Boo!
Listen, mate. If you can build me a paper aeroplane that gets from the Kenilworth end to the Oak Road, I will gladly throw it.
Challenge, people.
I will gladly throw it.
Engineers out there, get on it.
Absolutely no problem. But wrong end. But we'll take it. Of course, we'll take it. Simple as you're going to lie. I mean, if we conceded that goal, you'd be doing your nuts, wouldn't you? Because literally, he's not even that tall, is he, Palmer? And that's twice that he's got his head on. Beautiful deliveries, it has to be said.
Well, there's some definite... That is a major factor. Countless times early in the season, and maybe earlier in Jack's reign, where it's hitting the front man and winds everybody up. But the
Davy Vandenberg's spot on at picking out the first man.
Well, that's why maybe he's not taking it now. But yeah, the delivery is great, and it has been for a while. And all game it was causing problems. But there is definitely some routines going on, isn't it? Because for those early ones in that game, all the Luton players were crowded at the back post. I don't know. It's not, it's not rocket science or anything, but they are working on that. And the person that's working on it, the person that's studying it, is Kevin Pilkington, the goalkeeping coach. So if he's a free kick specialist now as well, then it's working.
Indeed, it is. Yeah. I mean, as Jimbo said before the intro, we might be a set piece team right now, but as long as ball ends up between those white things, doesn't really matter how it gets there.
Well, we are. In this game, obviously, because all the goals came from set pieces, but we created open play chances, just didn't take them. But that wasn't happening before, and the amount of shots that you said as well. So we were doing both things. It's just the set piece ones went in.
Yeah, indeed. They were level fairly soon after. Absolutely horrible goal to concede. It's a goal that highlighted the frailties of this formation, regardless of who's in it. And I mean, the guy's got past Naismith way too easily, hasn't he? The cross has gone too long way. I have absolutely no idea what he's doing with that clearance. It went about 5 yards straight to Cole. And when you bear in mind that 2 minutes earlier, Jordan Clark had blocked a shot in the exact same area, Saville tried to do the same thing. He went down the Bakerloo line, the shot went down the Jubilee line and into the top corner. How's your luck?
I mean, it was a good finish. You've got to hand it to him.
Blinding finish.
Absolutely fantastic finish. But though the mistake was made, you highlighted there Jordan Clark and Saville throwing themselves in the way, and I do recall many a times from the last season to this that you were talking about players not doing that. So they tried their best to try and stop that, but in the end it was ultimately the mistake that let them in, but then also a fantastic finish. Yeah,
that wasn't meant to be a criticism. You can only block certain areas, can't you? If the guy shoots it round you, the guy shoots it round you. But full credit to him, really good finish. But yeah, you're right, that's 3 times in a week that we've had this. Long wait at Doncaster last week to protect us a point. We were throwing our bodies in front of shots at Wickham, and we were doing it again last night. That is very much a box ticked in the positive sense from where we've been defensively. And yes, it needs to be done more often. Yes, it needs to continue, but it's right to highlight it. We wasn't level for long though, was we? I've got to admit, watching on from the Kenilworth end, what am I, 80, 90 yards away from the opposition penalty box, I just assumed when the referee blew that he blew for a foul from Cole on their player. Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw that he handballed it, don't get me wrong, but if that's the other way round, I'm screaming blue murder that the defender's been fouled. But lo and behold, I mean, I've seen this referee before. As you know, I watch an awful lot of MLS football for work and things. So I know that this guy gives an awful lot of penalties. They do in MLS. They're all about entertainment in American sports. But it's not in a month of Sundays. Is that anything but a foul on the defender?
Not a penalty in real time. Not a penalty on replay, or the second one, or the third. Not a penalty. We got away with them. We've absolutely robbed them there. But we'll take that.
But they've done their homework, haven't they? Because the goalkeeper was sat in that corner that Clark usually goes long before he got to the ball. And thankfully Clark noticed this time and he just rolled it into the opposite corner for 2-1. And then you're kind of thinking, go on then, kick on again. And then we had that scary moment where once again Niskanen, the guy that he was causing us all sorts of problems. The trouble was, and the trouble is with this formation, if you double up down the sides, who does the wing back go to? Does the wing back go to the full back or does the wing back go to the winger? Lawrence was caught in between two minds, and Naismith at no point came away from his defensive structure to take Niskanen, and he had the whole corner of Bedfordshire to himself. Put the ball across. I have absolutely no idea how Cole missed the rebound. But the save from Kearley is the reason why there is a lot of people touting him for a call up to the Ireland squad this week. Unbelievable save.
Fantastic reaction save. And we've been doing that a lot across the season. So it's no surprise that he's got that fully in his locker. But, you know, they were pushing for goals. They were keeping a lot of the ball. And that's why the penalty came at a nice time for us. Because usually when other teams are pressing and have the upper hand, we capitulated quite a lot. So to get that was a nice change in that narrative. And then to block it there and you're thinking, well, this might actually be our day for once. It was far too early to maybe think that, but yeah, you've got to take these little wins where you can.
Yeah, structurally, Exeter were causing problems. They were the back four, 6 and 2 8s and 3 up front, or 2 wingers and a centre forward. McGuinness was the centre forward. Bit of a lump really, didn't really offer too much on the night. But that's again because Dauphin was very, very good. I'm still waiting for this guy to not win a header. I'm pretty sure he's won near enough every header that he wins.
He did miss one, not win one, because I remarked on it thinking, oh,
and
is that the first one?
And that is where we're at, aren't we? You know, go back to the Northampton game onwards, you know, he has gone on an incredible run of winning headers, and long may that continue, because I'm sure he's going to face plenty more aerial bombardments with the teams that we've got left to play this season. Could have been 3-1 before it was. We've sent Casey Palmer through on a lovely move, and I think he tried to lift it over the keeper, and the keeper's kind of read it and made a really good save, to be fair to the keeper. You kind of expect Palmer in that position for the net to ripple, don't you? So that was a little bit of a surprise.
It was Premier League keeper though, so he done well there. He hasn't really committed himself to the dive at Palmer's feet, and that's what Palmer's gone for, to try and dink it over him. So he stands up and he's got a big arm that stops him. But we're not even creating those chances a month ago, are we? So for that to happen, great little, almost a reverse pass from Walsh to feed him through, and he's been doing that of late in recent weeks, Liam Walsh, and is one of the reasons why it's good to have him in the side.
Yeah, where their structure was causing us problems, our structure caused them problems, because they only had one deep line midfielder, and we had Clark and Palmer, who were having the time of their life last night, weren't they? And that was good to see. Emilio Lawrence was doing good things going forward. He had a shot from the edge of the box that the goalkeeper saved. You'd have expected a Premier League keeper to save that, but he did save it, and that's fine. And then just as the half looked like it was petering out, Cole flies in on Lawrence. I thought that was a naughty tackle, Jimbo. I thought that was... I've not seen it back, but from where I was and the player reaction and everything, I thought that was a red card in waiting, because he's got his back to him. He flies in. Naughty.
Oh, well, maybe because of the reaction. I mean, I haven't seen it back again, but at the time I thought that Lawrence sensed the connection was coming and jumped in the air, so whatever connection was made was lessened the impact of that, but obviously makes it look a bit more dramatic as well. So it was definitely a foul, and we made the most of it.
We did, yeah. Beautiful George Saville free kick. I mean, it went right between the back line and the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper can't come and get it. Back line can't backtrack. Dauphin's attacked it, stuck a leg out, popped it in the bottom corner, and yeah, I genuinely thought we were worthy of the lead at half-time. People are telling me that we weren't, but like I said earlier, 6 shots on target from just 7 shots in that half was as good as we've performed in 90 minutes for most of the season.
Yeah, in an attacking sense, that's what I mean. I was really happy with the fact that we went after them. We've still got so much frailties at the back, and people are highlighting that. And you're right to do so, because they scored on their first shot on target, and that's happened far too often. even when we're in the ascendancy, which wasn't the case at the time, but that has happened a lot. But if we kind of accept that this is going to happen now, we are going to concede goals and stupid ones, then you may as well just go and attack. And what better to do than score 3 goals in the first half?
Well, I think that needs to be your default plan, doesn't it? Go there expecting us to concede soft goals and be delighted when we don't concede soft goals, because how large a structure size do you need, a sample size do you need? We've been doing it for 2 years. Not suddenly going to stop now. We can't suddenly go and find new personnel to do the job. We've got the ones that we're left with, and whether someone out on loan at Oxford could be better or not, who knows? But he's not here, and these are the ones that we've got. So we are going to concede soft goals. Let's hope we can concede them at a fewer rate over the remainder of the season. But again, be prepared to concede them, because these are the same people. And the second goal, what was it, 5-6 minutes after half time, was another really, really soft goal. I think for the first time ever in a Luton shirt, a Dolphins made a bit of a mistake to let the guy into our penalty area. At least I think it was a Dolphin. And Naismith's got absolutely no idea where Niskanen is, has he? And when the ball comes over, there's Niskanen for a tap-in. You mentioned after the Reading game that he just doesn't have natural defensive instincts, and a natural defender will know where he is and make sure he's between him and the ball. Wasn't the case, and he's not missing from when the ball finds him, is he?
No, once it gets past there, and it was a Dolphin sort of midway into Luton's half over the touchline, and he shouldn't really have got away, but he did.
And then I think Longway tried to tackle him, but missed him by a mile.
I think the word "try" is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, to be honest.
I'm trying to be kind, Jimbo.
He didn't do anything. I don't know what he was doing, whether he thought he was going to trip him or something, I don't know. But then once he's gotten past Longway and he's on the byline, it's a simple ball across the box into a danger area, and you're hoping that somebody's going to be there. Of course, Niskanen was. So very disappointing. Again, we have a proclivity for doing that in the early stages of second halves, and at that point you're like, well, this is Reading all over again, isn't it? And the fact it wasn't after that is a testament to how the team played really, really well, went after them, spent most of the time in the Exeter half. I can only count on maybe the fingers of one hand the times they got in and into our half and did anything of note or danger until the very end, when Cal Naismith made a fantastic block tackle to take it away from Wareham. There was maybe twice that they put it into our box and it caused a bit of havoc. Hey, what have we just been saying about the defensive frailties? But other than that, we went after them, we attacked. Clark was in the heart of everything, an absolutely fantastic performance for Jordan Clark. Supported by Palmer, and Lawrence was involved as well. And I thought actually, people have been critical of him, but I thought Devante Cole in the second half did some useful things in a striker sense. He had his first shot on target. It was always being saved. First shot on target, which kind of speaks to the rest of the team's inability to put it in positions for him to score, and maybe also for him to be in positions for him to score. So there's work to do there, but his movement and his hold up, he was doing good things there, if not the cleanest ever. So I was really encouraged by that performance.
To be fair to Cole, if he received passes from our midfield like he received from their number 6 for that chance, he would be absolutely laughing. I mean, as the through ball goes, it was absolutely superb. Obviously, wasn't what he was aiming for, but they're the kind of passes that the striker wants. You were absolutely right, though. We went after the game. I don't really know how we didn't score in that second half, as I said, in the instant reaction. We've had another shot deflected onto the crossbar. Naismith's had one that he's just missed, kind of Paul Gascoigne Euro 96 style, from Jordan Clark's acrobatic volley from that free kick, which I had a feeling they were going to do that. The Walsh and Clark were looking at each other, even though Saville was standing over that free kick. And he's dinked it over to Clark to roll it across earlier this season. Just missed it, Naismith, and then he had another one where he poked it at goal and it hit the outside of the post as it went through.
That one he should be scoring more than the other one. The other one flashed at him because it was from like a scissor kick volley from Jordan Clark, which speaks to a confidence growing. You don't take that on if you're not in that sort of mode. So fair play to Clark there. But yeah, the second one, he's in loads of space there, and he should be getting that in.
He should, yeah. Much in the same way, he's almost identical to the Clark one that he missed against Reading in the previous home game that just hit him and didn't go anywhere. And then, like you say, the Devante Cole shot. Lawrence had a couple that were whistling past my lug holes in the Kenilworth end, which again is the growing sign of the confidence in our attacking play, and that's good. And
Clark hit the deflected
shot onto the bar,
off the crossbar. So yeah, again, it was
a couple of dangerous corners that, to be fair to the goalkeeper, he's punched away Tyson Fury style, hasn't he? I mean, if he misses either of those punches and catches someone, he's giving a penalty away, isn't he? It wasn't like he's proper full on bringing the hand back and smacking it.
But the delivery was good. That's the main thing, and maybe they figured it out a little bit. But if you're putting it in those dangerous areas, which is why we're getting so much joy. I mean, we scored 5 goals this week, and they've all been set pieces. So you can't sniff at that.
No, not at all. And like you say, chances were coming from open play. So, yeah, there's a lot of positive things in that game last night. And, towards the end of it, we sort of managed it pretty well. I think there was lots of murmurings about taking Palmer off and bringing Jake Richards on. I wasn't massively enamoured with the sub, but we were determined not to concede ground, even without Palmer on the pitch. So, and we did do that, and that was good. And like you say, Naismith made a good tackle. Not that it'll go down in the record books because referee gave goal kick for said tackle, but it was clearly a Naismith tackle. I could see that from the Kenilworth end, and a bit of a dodgy touch from someone who was running through in injury time, but he'd still have had a Dauphin with him who would have blocked any shot that was coming in anyway. But that aside, and then we had that comical incident with George Saville, didn't we? And the head injury and the physios, and then all of a sudden he just parked his ass on the floor 10 yards from the sideline. I mean, I don't know what that was all about, really. I do know what it was all about. They didn't want Saville to go off and not be on the pitch for 30 seconds, but you could have just made the sub that you made anyway, couldn't you, really? And it was good to see Sverre Sandow. He does exist. He was there. He ran onto the pitch for, 90 seconds or so in the end. I think he kicked someone up in the air in the process.
There's an Exeter player with 8 stud marks on his stomach somewhere. Yeah, he's a tall lad, isn't he?
He is a tall lad.
Get the first sighting of him, really. So yeah, that's good that he's on the way back in. That offers another option for the CDM role, doesn't it? Somewhere down the line.
And, we've regularly said that people like Saville aren't the long-term future of the club. Well, this guy, 22 years old, technically will be the long-term future of the club. So let's hope he blends into that role between now and the start of next season. Good to see 15 or 20 minutes of Eli. Not necessarily good that he seemed to clutch his groin after 5 of those minutes and was limping around for the rest of it. But he didn't shirk the ball in injury time. There's a couple of times that he took it into the corner and belted at the fella and got corners out of it and things like that. And hopefully that's just a sign of his body not being used to playing football again, rather than an actual injury that's going to keep him out for any period of time. And we saw it out pretty well, really. And we needed to, when you look at the results that were around us. I mean, Wickham winning at Cardiff. Come on, Gay Bosho. Pick a different game to get sent off in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we've the amount of times that we've passed up opportunities to take points when other teams have gone around us. I mean, I don't think we can pipe up about that much anymore. We've just got to do the job that we've got to do, which is win a game. And when the likes of Eli are running into the corners, it's a beautiful sight because they can't score from there for starters.
Not even our defence can cough up a goal from there.
Not even someone from Huddersfield could score from there. So I really like that. Great reception for Eli when he came on as it was in at Wickham at the weekend. All in all, a really satisfying result. And you can quibble about the performance if you like. Result.
Yeah, but we're at a stage of the season where it's result first, isn't it? Until the season's done and dusted, from a mathematical point of view, it's all about getting the results. And I stress what I said earlier in the podcast. We don't really make enough of it. but the schedule's relentless. The last time Luton didn't play a midweek game was the week commencing the 9th of February. This week's commenced the 16th of March. It's an absolutely bonkers schedule, and it's been mostly the same players that have done this. I know he's resting players, and he's annoyed us not necessarily annoyed us that he's rested players, but annoyed us that he's taken players off at the times that he's taken players off in games. But it's been an absolute bonkers schedule, and there's been a few real physical efforts in those as well. And to still keep churning it out, it's not going to be perfect, but we've got one more big effort to come. And then they can have a 2 week, those that aren't going on international duty can have 2 weeks of preparing properly and sort of resting when they need to and things, ready for another hectic schedule.
Yeah, well, it's so relentless. It's only just occurred to me now that we won the third game of a 3-game week at the weekend. So we've got to do it again this weekend. But the amount of times that was a topic of discussion for particularly last season, and probably this one as well, but we've got a myriad of other problems that were cropping up at the same time. It's like you said at the beginning, like a nice little tick in the box of positivity there.
It is, yep. And if we could, I don't care how it looks on Saturday, but if we can win on Saturday, well, we'll introduce the cat to the pigeons, won't we?
I'd like to see that, yeah, just for the imagery. It would be even better if we don't really play well but get a result, because then if we can do that and tick along nicely and start building up some confidence, by the point you get to the trophy game, they'll be coming up against a different Luton. Bit too far to think about that down the line, but get the job done here. And, a 9-point week, I can't even remember the last time we managed one of those.
We'll have to look back on that one, that's for sure. I can't either. I mean, I had to check earlier on today to see the last time we won successive league games, and I was shocked that it had already happened in 2026. I thought it was the 2 games after Christmas, but lo and behold, kind of tells you how all these games blend into one. Just for reference, it was Blackpool and Bradford that we beat in successive Saturdays. Probably still have it in my head that we didn't beat Blackpool, because that was a bloody hard game of football to watch as well, wasn't it? This wasn't. This was an enjoyable and easy game of football to watch, and you know what? We got the same 3 points against Blackpool as we got last night. Now, there is a school of thought that at some point when we are on top like we were last night, we really need to put the hammer down, because we know what goal difference can do from last season. So I completely get that. But it wasn't for the want of trying.
I am enrolled in that school.
But it wasn't for the want of trying last night.
No,
if we'd come away 6-2 winners last night,
they couldn't complain.
They couldn't have complained at all. You know, they had the crossbar to save them. 2 sitters missed.
Goalkeeper save.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can highlight the saves that Keeley's make, but their goalkeepers had to make just as many, and we've created, better chances probably. So from a point where we weren't even creating chances, and at their place we didn't have a shot.
No.
Did we? Didn't have a shot on target.
We did, didn't we? But
no.
They must have had the American referee, because the goalkeeper definitely pushed one round the post. But
they didn't. They officially didn't credit it as a shot. Then, from that sort of turnaround standpoint, then it is improvement in the right direction.
Yeah, something has happened in the last week, Jimbo. There's no doubt about that. I mean, were we fantastic at Doncaster? Good grief, no, we weren't. But we clung on to a point, and who knows what that point might do at the end of the season. And since then, we've picked up 6 points, 7 points out of 9. If we can pick up 7 points out of 9 over the next 2 sets of 3 games, who knows? And that's the thing. We've said all along we're due to go on a run. I don't mean to say we're going on it, but we're due to go on a run.
Didn't we say that last season?
Well, that's it. And funnily enough,
we
did
at the
didn't
end.
we?
Yeah, we did at the end.
And that's the thing. This international break that's about to come up, that was kind of the catalyst last season, wasn't it? Because we come out of it, we beat Hull, then we had a couple of other results, and then we beat Derby and Bristol City over Easter. If we do the same thing here, go into the international break with a win and come out and have a good Easter, we know what can happen, but it's all ifs and buts, and of course it is. But started last night 5 points away from the playoffs. Now we're 4 points away from the playoffs. If we chip a point off every single time we play, there we are.
Well, I mean, we ideally need to chip off 3 against Stockport, because that drags them back into. I mean, they're in touching distance, but it drags it right back into play. And if we do, then maybe a few more people will start to believe, and maybe even we'll have to have a conversation about whether at that point, whether promotions, the playoffs are back on the table. I'm not saying at the moment. I'm just saying I enjoyed 2 games of football and we won both of them.
Absolutely. I'm not either. I think Saturday, well, we'll come on to Saturday in a moment, but I think Saturday is the pivotal game in our season, and we'll explain why. But we went to Wickham 8 points off the playoffs. We're now 4 points off the playoffs. So it just, the numbers tell you that the chances have improved, even if the likelihood hasn't. The chances have improved, and now we've got to take advantage of it. Comments. We asked for your comments. I asked for them in the instant reaction. Lots and lots and lots of feedback about my paper aeroplane, but that wasn't in an instant reaction. But yeah, score 4 in 4 and do it at the Kenilworth end on Saturday, Casey, and catch my paper aeroplane.
Well, that's exactly what Sam H568 said. He said, how's that paper plane going for Palmer's contract?
It's a Spitfire. I'm going to turn it into a Spitfire by the time I throw it down to him.
It'll be a passenger plane by the time you get your...
Listen, as long as it's got a dotted line and a signature on it, it can be any plane you want.
Richard Tyson, he said, Kevin Jimbo, some positives for you. 1, 4 points off the playoffs. 2, Palmer played 3, scored 3. Get your paper airplane out, Kev. 3, Odoffin scored his first goal for the club. 4, more minutes for Addy. 5, 2 home games still to go before away again. 6, Clark's trying bicycle kicks, so we are playing with a smile again. And 7, Saville using dark arts at the end of the game. We are learning. So, I think there are lots of positives. Still a chance, and we do it the Luton way, he says.
That is a lot of positives, isn't it?
7 of them.
7
mate.
Positives, absolutely, yeah. And they are all positives, you're quite right, Richard, yeah. The Saville bit at the end, he needs to be a wee bit more subtle than that, doesn't he? But because we can't have him getting booked every single game, but... I
mean, he can't be far off a ban anyway, because he's got racked up a lot of cards, the lad.
Yeah, I thought this, but apparently he's fine because it goes up to 15 after Saturday. So I think he's 3 away. Even he can't get booked 3 times on Saturday.
Maybe not. Stephen Taylor, 1649, says, played some really good football at times, but not sure we dominated. Lawrence-Clark partnership on the left was excellent, but just lacked the killer ball in the end. We looked poor defensively on the right. Codger was hardly in the game. However, the biggest positive for me was in the final 20 minutes. We just looked like we wanted it a bit more, and we battled more than in previous games where we've gone on and drawn or lost. Thought Saville had a good game, but it's clear he just hasn't got the pace to cover the energy to track back. Agree. Lots of positives, but still obvious season-long weaknesses on show in the goals we conceded. Better and closer, but not there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Until we can change personnel again, we're just going to have to put up with those frailties, aren't we? It is what it is, and let's hope that the strengths outweigh the weaknesses over the last 8 games of the season. We don't concede. We haven't conceded. Or we were determined not to concede ground last night when it was 3-2, and that's a big thing because
game management. There was game management going on. We haven't had a lot of that.
You go back to the last home game against Reading, and we conceded ground far too easily.
Absolutely.
Not last night. When we were pushed back, we were pushed back by Exeter, and it didn't happen very often.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Pete 6975 says pretty average overall, not bad with the ball, but still miles off it, out of possession. 2 well taken set pieces and very, very soft penalty. 2 sides that knock it about fairly well, but come up short at either end of the pitch. Exeter played some lovely football in the first half, but faded as the game went on. I really want to get excited by this Luton side, but once again, I just don't feel the joy. Sloppy play, often at a slow tempo, and are just not very exciting. We have a super soft underbelly, but tonight's Exeter's was softer. 3 points is great, but if this level of performance makes people really happy, then I must be missing something. We have a long way to go before we can talk about promotion. You can't please everyone, can you? But we're not talking about promotion. But
I don't think this level of performance makes everyone happy either. But the two things that make people happy are the fact that we scored 3 goals and we won the game of football. But as we've said throughout this podcast already, yes, we've got frailties. But at no stage could we have hidden all of those in the one transfer window that Jack had. Yes, we possibly could have had a better transfer window. I'm still far from enamoured from what happened in January, albeit Palmer and Lawrence are turning out to be diamonds in the rough. But we were never going to solve all of the issues. And as we've said a few times on this podcast, if you can't defend, Kevin Keegan it. And that penny seems to have dropped because we are giving it a right good go now.
Yeah, and hopefully that continues. Well, certainly from my point of view anyway. Tom Mollett, 300, said, decent performance, but I've got to be honest, conceding an average of 2 goals per game in the last 3 is a concern for me. I'm not convinced we did dominate. I thought Exeter never looked like a team who hadn't won in 11 and threatened regularly without testing Keeley too much. We just looked very vulnerable at the back with Lonwake and Naismith. A Dauphin brilliant again. Different perspective from that. There were a few people, and maybe many more actually, but I've read a lot of people that weren't particularly pleased with the performance, but that wasn't my view. So that's differences, isn't it? Difference in opinion.
Yeah, that's why we all love the game.
Chris Lines, 2772. I wish I could feel more confident about our chances of making the playoffs. There are plenty of points to play for, and the gap is quite small, but we give away too many cheap goals and rely on the opposition to do the same. You know, it's true. It's exactly what we're saying. We do, and I think by the looks of it, that's just going to continue, and we're going to have to try and make our peace with it, but encourage them to attack. Yeah?
Yeah, indeed so, yeah. I mean, the reason why you can have confidence, if you look at Paul Stillwell's post on the preview to the Exeter game, he has done the work that we don't have to and gone through all of the fixtures that the teams around us have got, and they've all got each other, and we haven't got them.
That is a positive then, isn't it? Yeah, well, fair enough. Mike Giddins, I like this one because talk about sample sizes. Mike has got it. Firstly, I thought it was a decent game in which Exeter played their part and could easily have been 7-4. In my 60 years of watching the Hatters, I've seen some great football as well as some rubbish. I feel we're in a rebirth phase and we are very hit and miss. We have some excellent young talent which, given time, I believe will see us rise again. They need time and patience and most of all playing. I, for one, am more than happy to accept they will make mistakes, but as long as they are trying to do the right thing, that's fine. Blood these youngsters around a spine of Keeley, Dauphin, Palmer and Adebayo, and I'm optimistic for a bright future. I don't think you can get away with calling Palmer and Adebayo youngsters anymore, but I think that this is something that we've been sort of banging the drum about recently, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's using that spine of experienced players and the youngsters in around that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm well with you. There are players here who simply aren't the long-term future for the club. Now, if they get us promoted this season, we say thank you, because they certainly can't do the job for us in the Championship, because that's why they're here in the first place, because they couldn't do it for their former clubs in the Championship. But, you know, if they're hanging around whilst the likes of Jake Richards and the likes of Joe Johnson and everyone else are building up experience in the minutes that they get around it ahead of season or two to come, that they're going to be much better players for it, then that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I mean, everyone needs to appreciate just what those players are. Then they're simply not the future of the football club, and hopefully the summer transfer window brings in more players that are the future. I think we alluded to already, you could probably see that Sandow is the Saville replacement. We haven't got one for Wells and Naismith yet, but they'll come, you would think. And when they do, happy days. One
here from Luton Town Kits. I won't read it all, but he said, sorry, gents, to move away from the game reaction, but a question for the pod. Chelsea's £10.7 million fine for the dodgy payments to players, unlicensed agents sound familiar. And he obviously compares it to our situations, Sheffield Wednesdays, Rotherham, Bournemouth and stuff. So I think that That is a very good thing to talk about. You could probably make a whole episode about that. We've played so much football, I've not really delved into that situation too much because it's Chelsea. The little I do know about it, it's basically scandalous, isn't it, really? So that's the headline of where I'd pitch my discussion, but I haven't got into the weeds of it, so I'm not sure I could do it here and now. And we're obviously doing this game and the Stockport game for this episode, but one to sort of look at. I know many Luton fans aren't happy with it.
The more cash you throw at lawyers, the less your punishment.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why when we were in the Premier League, all these teams threw more money than they had at PSR because they knew the punishments wasn't severe enough. One of those two teams should have been relegated. That would have stopped it. But they weren't. And now the horse is well and truly bolted. They can't control that now, which is why they're changing the rules again. Yeah,
and God knows what we're going to get with the 115 charges of Man City, which is now 15 months away since they had that hearing. So it's a mess. It's a mess, and obviously, we got punished the most by it, and it was horrible at the time. And those memories will never fade, to be honest.
Nope. The flag behind me highlights that.
Indeed.
If Morocco can get the Africa Cup of Nations 2 months after they played the final, maybe we can get our Premier League place back.
I tell you what, that is... I mean, I've read that one, actually, because I thought, what the hell is going on there? And it didn't need me to understand financial and legalese, really. It's actually by the book rules, but surely you make that at the time. And I don't know, mental, that decision. Mental. One more for you then on these comments from you guys. Greg Miles 6163 said, job done and big 3 points, but disagree with your overall view. Only dominant in the second half for about 20 minutes where, yes, we should have scored a couple and played front-footed stuff. Thought Exeter were better than us first half. Keeley also made an outstanding point-blank save. Penalty harsh on them. Their young Ukrainian winger was destroying us. Although love being the Arsenal of League One, have big concerns again with no goals in open play, sitting too deep with George Saville and Liam Walsh together. Codger wasted, not a bloody wing back, and serious striker issues continue. Thank God their marksman Wareham got rested and only came on as a late sub. See, Ballard got his third hat-trick of the season tonight. Can only dream of having a number 9 like that. Win was massive. Improvement needed for Stockport. Would love a back four on Saturday, but probably very unlikely with the shamefully no proper right back in the building. Much better from Clark tonight. Adolfin and Palmer must start and play 90 minutes every game. We'll believe playoffs back on if we win on Saturday.
There's a lot to unpack there, isn't there? Well, we'll come on to the Stockport formation in a minute, but you're not getting a back four on Saturday, and we'll tell you why in a moment, or at least we don't think you are. Codger, yeah, no, absolutely agree. What were the Arsenal of League One? Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine as well. They are going to win the Premier League, Arsenal, so if we're the Arsenal of League One, that's absolutely fine as well.
It'll be one for next season. We're not going to win the league. That's mathematically out of the question now, isn't it?
It is. It was mathematically out of the question on Saturday, wasn't it, when Lincoln won, wherever it was that they won against Stockport, I think it was, funnily enough, given that we're going to cover that in a moment. Look, is this the finished article from Luton? No, it's not. It's not even close to the finished article. When you go down a completely different route that we did from Bloomfield to Wilshere, you need completely different players. He brought 5 in, 3 of which barely being seen at the moment, or 2 of which now that Cole's making starting spots. And we've got rid of a lot of players that he didn't want. And, you know, those of you that watched the Portsmouth game the other night, you've probably seen why he got rid of a couple of them, because they didn't exactly shine in that game either. But what we are doing, in terms of the last week at least, is we have worked something out, something that we're going forward with, and that we are scoring goals. Now, you know, if they go off Jimbo's backside and in, or if they go off of a set piece, or however the ball goes in the back of the net, that's the aim of the game, isn't it?
We might need that referee on the pitch if it's going to go off my backside, and that's the only way he'll give it.
Well, we are struggling with strikers. And you keep telling me forever and a day how much you're a fox in the box. You've only got to tell Jack this at a press conference, and I reckon you're on the bench on Saturday.
Luton, if you're listening, tell him. Come on, he still don't believe it. He's seen it in black and white.
He hasn't seen who wrote the article in black and white, though, has he? That's the thing. Show me that.
A wise scribe.
Yeah. Really good comments, though. And, it's absolutely fine. If you saw a different game to me, it's absolutely fine. That's what opinions are all for, isn't it? Jimbo and I give our opinions. We invite you to give your opinions, and that's fine. We're all welcome and entitled to our own opinions.
Do you know something I was thinking, and I don't quite know how to do this. I'm sure it's possible, but I like the comments section that you guys write into the comments on us, and we'll still continue that. But if it's possible, and maybe you can tell us how, would you like a way for you to send us like a voice note or something so we can play it on the show? Would you be in for that? That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Well, it would save you reading it out and mixing your words up every time you read one out, wouldn't it? So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a way, isn't there? I mean, we've got gadgets on here and things that we can play and things. So if that's what people want, we are men of the people, Jimbo, aren't we?
Indeed. Let us know in the comments.
What people wanted was 3 points in the score prediction leaderboard, and no one got it. No one got 3-2. There was lots that went with comfortable Luton wins, but none went 3-2. If you combine our two scores, Jimbo, we got the correct score, but that's not how it works.
Yes. We make the rules, don't we?
We should do.
Oh, no, it's only against me and you, isn't it?
Yeah.
That competition.
Well, if we do that, then considering I scored more goals than you, I think I should get the points.
Oh, we won't do that then. No, silly idea. Who ever came up with that?
Indeed. So, yeah, no correct scores. And I'll be honest, really, really busy day today. I've not had a chance to get the leaderboard done, but there's no 3 points on there. So it's probably going to be close to as you were going into the Stockport game, which we will preview now. First things first, this is not a dress rehearsal for Wembley. This is a huge, huge league game of football in its own right. Jimbo, 12:30 kickoff. If you can get to Kenilworth Road on Saturday, please do. This needs to be one of those famous Kenilworth Road atmospheres. And it was very quiet and very empty last night. And that was unfortunate because, the team might have turned a corner. I'm not saying that they have done. They might have done. 3 games unbeaten. Rome wasn't built in a day. You can only build the blocks from the start. So if you can get to Kenilworth Road, that would be absolutely fantastic because the boys need your support. They, as I mentioned a minute ago, they have gone through a relentless schedule since we got put back into the Virtue Trophy. And this is the last game of that schedule, and it just so happens to be the biggest game of that schedule. However, if you can't get to Kenilworth Road, it is on Sky Sports Plus. It's a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. So please do all you can to get to Kenilworth Road. And if you are inside the ground, be loud and proud. Cheer the boys on because this is a big day. And it's a big day for a number of reasons, Jimbo. Not only are Stockport are 5th. At the moment, they're within catching distance. So there's 2 spots in the playoffs available. They win, they go 8 points ahead of us. 7 games left, we ain't catching them. All of a sudden, there's one position left in the playoffs, and that's assuming the teams lose around us.
And Reading are doing really well in picking up points. So Kelvin, lots of letters are scoring goals, isn't he?
That's gone down well, Kelvin. Lots of letters. I've heard a couple of people reference that. It's very good from you. That was. We are the first team.
Squirrel finds the occasion.
Indeed, we are the first team to play on Saturday. The only other game is Cardiff against Blackpool. That's of an absolute irrelevance to us. Cardiff ain't catchable and Blackpool ain't catching us. So we have a chance to lay a marker down and put some pressure on the teams above us. We'll have overtaken a couple of those teams if we win. And the other reason, Jimbo, is 4 of the teams around us play each other on Saturday. I think it's, if I remember rightly, Stevenage against Reading and Plymouth against Huddersfield on Saturday. So this has the potential to be the pivotal day of the season so far. That's why it's not a dress rehearsal for the trophy final. Listen, as a Luton fan right now, if you said to me, you can beat Stockport and make the playoffs, or you can win the Virtue Trophy. I'm sorry, the Virtue Trophy. I'll enjoy a day out at Wembley, but Stockport can carry that to their heart's content. I want playoffs.
Yeah, if you're going to present that choice. I think most people would. Well, I think most. Some people are saying if we go up, we're coming straight back down, and that's a legitimate argument to have. But I think if you do go up, you've got more money in the pot. You need to, as we've already said, how Jack needs another transfer window to try and implement his team. Is have a better chance of signing better players in the Championship. We'll cross that bridge if we ever come to it. But it is a really important game. El Hattico Part 1.
That can go in the bin before it starts as well, let me tell you.
I'm Team El Hattico. So I like that. It holds a lot more significance than it did before. Previously, I think you could say it might have been a dress rehearsal. Now I think you've got to say that this is an absolute must-win game.
Yeah, as I said earlier, if we win on Saturday, the cat and the pigeons come together. They really, really do, you know. Okay, there is the chance for them teams, or some of them teams, to then move away from us again when they play next weekend and we don't. Well, we can't do anything about that. We can only control what we do, and let's hope next weekend a couple of them slip up and open the door for us, and we have the Easter that I've suggested that we can do, but it's all irrelevant. Well, it's not all irrelevant if we don't beat Stockport, but we are playing for one place. However, we win on Saturday, we are very much playing for two. What is there, 5 teams in and around it? 6 teams playing for 2 places. That's a hell of a lot better than 5 teams playing for 1 place. That's why it's massive. Stockport, they bring one of the leading scorers in the division down with them. Kyle Wotton, he's the centre of their 3, I believe, who play up front. So that's one good thing, because that'll be a doffin that sorts him out. Obviously, the 2 alongside him, Barry and Diamond, are lively to say the least. The latter we were supposedly linked with on transfer deadline day. That'll be a pain in the you-know-what if he comes to pass. But the big one that we've got to stop, as we thought we had to stop at their place, but thankfully he was injured at the time, is Oliver Norwood. Stop him, stop Stockport.
Absolutely. He's a quality player. He's a Championship player all day long. And we didn't have to deal with that at their place. But on the plus side, we did go to their place and put in one of the best performances, certainly under Jack Wilshere's tenure.
The best performance.
Even if you say that Stockport had chances to maybe score a couple before we did, but they didn't in the end, and then we were fantastic. And at the time, it felt like the Luton had returned. That was the title of our video, wasn't it? We've got our Luton back, and people have said that ever since, that you can't be saying that. But I do remind you, we do come on here to talk about each game individually, not the previous 30-odd games that went before it. Otherwise, we'd be here for a very long time, and some of you already don't like that we go over an hour, but there you go. It was a good performance, and it was against this lot. So there'll be good vibes, hopefully, for it.
Yeah, indeed. They're a good side, Stockport. There's no getting away from that. But maybe they're not quite as good a side as we thought they were when we went to their place. They're a lot less consistent these days, aren't they? Because they were ploughing a furrow at the top of the league, and now you look at them and they lose or don't win matches that you'd expect them to, and they struggle in other matches. Last night they beat Northampton, but they beat them 2-1, whereas you really had that down as a comfortable home banker in much the same way you probably did Luton against Exeter. Cameron McGeehan nearly done us a right turn last night when he equalised for Northampton. So maybe they're just struggling a little bit. There was a lot of expectation on them at the start of the season. There always is on the team that loses out in the playoffs the season before, like Stockport did. And they spent again, and they were expected to be automatic promotion contenders. They're not that. And I just wonder if that's important.
Well, it could play a factor psychologically, couldn't it? Because remind me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time when we played them and went up there, it was billed as the 2 teams pre-season were tipped to go up automatic, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Us 2 and Huddersfield were the 3 bookmakers' favourites for the title this season. Who said bookmakers never get it wrong? Because I bet they didn't have Lincoln as title contenders.
No, I wouldn't have from what I've seen of Lincoln, but they are actually League One effective, aren't they? And that's why they are there.
Yeah. Going on to Stockport just quickly, we're not going to cover Stockport in too much detail. We've kind of got another game against this lot on the horizon, so we'll focus a lot more on that when it's the sole game that we're focusing on. But they arrive here having lost 4 of their last 5 away games.
Well, that's good because we, the Reading result scuppered this run of ours at home, but the performance for 70 minutes was still good, and we're picking up results most of the time either side. So our home form has never really been the problem. It was the away one, and hopefully we've drawn a line under that from the Wycombe game. We'll see, but we don't really have to worry about that for a while. We've got to just continue this home form, and I mean the tricky thing will be if we do concede a goal, concede a soft goal, or when and where in the game we do concede that, because I think now we're kind of just expecting it. I don't think we can do that to give them the lead. I think we've got to start fast and get the first goal, as we have done against teams recently, and then we'll see if those cats get let amongst the pigeons, as you say.
They've only scored more than one goal twice in their last 10 away games, Stockport, which when you think that they've got the second leading scorer in the division and arguably the best creator in the division, kind of tells you that they do struggle away from home. There's no getting away from that. And the two teams that they scored more than one against were Blackpool and Stockport. Blackpool and Port Vale. Well, we scored 2 at Blackpool, and Port Vale are bottom of the league. To be fair, they've done a good job on them, but which we didn't do. But that should offer us up some encouragement. Let's turn this back to Luton, and the reason why this 3 at the back is now a vogue thing is because we played it and it worked so well at Stockport. That was the first time that we played it under Jack. We'd been a back 4 up until then. And that's why I don't see it changing on Saturday. I don't see it changing on Saturday at all, but in his post-match press conferences, Jack said that they were having today, Wednesday off. So therefore, they've only got 2 days to work on this game. And it's right to give them today off as well, because the schedule's been stupid. So they're not going to change formation over the course of 2 days. But they know this formation works. Now, whether the personnel in this formation is the right personnel, clearly it's completely different to when we went there. For example, the wing-backs were Cohen Bramall and Izzy Jones, not Emilio Lawrence, who well done to him on his Scotland under-21 call-up, and Gideon Kodjia. And they're both wingers who just so happen to be being asked to put a defensive shift in, whereas Bramall and Jones are players who can do a bit of both sides of the ball. But the structure worked. It worked a treat. It had the Saville-Walsh partnership in it, and we still flourished. And I fully expect us to play in the same structure again on Saturday. Now, I hope it's the last time we play in that structure on Saturday, and we'll come on to that against Peterborough. But don't see it changing.
No, I don't see it changing. It changed at their place because they play a 3 and we matched them up, and we went toe-to-toe with them and ended up whacking 3 past them with the likes of Nelson and Ali in the side. So they're not here anymore. We've been sort of small steps improving in the last couple of weeks that should give us a bit of encouragement. So yeah, that back 3 is sticking as it is for now, and then hopefully when we've got that little break because of the internationals, that we can work on a few variations, because it does get exposed. It got exposed against Exeter on the flanks, and if we allow the likes of Jack Diamond to run amok, then we're asking for trouble.
Yeah, I think he's playing right wing back for them now, actually. I think they've signed someone else to play the forward role, and so he might be very much similar to Kodjia in that respect, that he wants to go forward rather than go backwards, and that would be good because Emilio Lawrence will be on his side, and he wants to take him the other way. Another thing that will give you encouragement, Luton are unbeaten against Stockport in our last 13 meetings. Now, we thought that was a negative against Wycombe because we'd never lost at Adams Park, and hey presto, we won at Adams Park. They're a good opposition for us, Jimbo.
Well, let's hope those numbers work for us then. I mean, it had to change at some point, and we were saying maybe that the Wycombe game was a turning point for that away stuff, which will remain to be seen until we can do it a bit more consecutively and consistently. But yeah, all the sort of omens, or the things you like to look at, might be sort of tipping in our favour.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? So I expect the same structure. do you see changes? Or is this literally, look, lads, we know the bodies are tired, but just give it everything we've got one last time, and then I don't need to see you again for another week? Which he doesn't really, does he? What are they going to gain next week? Half of their key players are going to be on international duty, so...
Well, if he doesn't change it, and I'd be fine with it, then that question you asked me at the top of this, that have we seen the end of the Tinkerman, maybe coming true, because that would suggest that he's seeing, the game to game performances and reactions on how they're going to play in the next one, and rather than just thinking, well, I've got a squad that I can put my trust in all of them, which was the message earlier in his tenure, thinking, well, no, these guys are the ones that are doing it, they deserve the shot. If you think about the times that, well, no, Liam Walsh had a stunning game, and the very next game he was on the bench, and that didn't please anybody. But if you won a game of football and played decent attacking football, if not the defensive stuff which we've highlighted, then I don't really see any reason to change it, really. I mean, the only thing that probably would come about as a possible change is if Wells has recovered quickly from his injury, and maybe he comes back in for Cole. But that's all I can probably see.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you. I mean, if you look at the lineup at Stockport that day, so Keeley obviously in goal, back three of Naismith, Anderson and Mengi, wing backs, as I said, Bramall, Jones, two holding midfielders, Walsh and Saville, two tens, or whatever you want to call them, the front midfielders, Richards and Fanny, and Wells up front. The lineup on Saturday is probably going to be better than that, isn't it? You've got Palmer instead of Fanny. As much as I was a fan of Fanny, I think we can all say that Palmer's better than him.
I think I said Ali earlier, and I meant Fanny, so apologies.
Obviously, Clark was injured at that point as well, so Clark being in there as well will help. And it's much the same side. I mean, a Doffin for Mengi, Longwick for Anderson, and it's the same side, isn't it? Okay, Jury might be out on Longwick, but it certainly isn't out on a Doffin. And you said it, we matched them up, and that is the thing, right? That's the thing that we couldn't do against Exeter, because they went twos down each side, and as I said earlier in the podcast, we got caught between the devil and the deep blue sea as to which one we went after. This isn't the case this time. Three defenders have got three forwards to look after. The three attackers have got three central defenders to look after, and the other four have got the other four. This is very much your Nathan Jones. We'll match you up because we're better than you. So we've matched up now. We've just got to show that we're better than them.
Yeah, well, it's a nice place to be in, isn't it? I haven't had that for a long while. I suppose the other one, and we'll only really find this out, I suppose, in the pre-match, is whether Mads Anderson becomes fit sooner rather than later, and what that does to the makeup of the back three. I don't expect it would change the structure of it, but whether, or really how would that work now that Adoffin's been so effective in the centre, which would traditionally be Mads' place, wouldn't he? Could he play on the right of it? That would be an interesting one to see. But there were plenty of comments actually on our YouTube, on your instant reaction, that talked about Mads Anderson and saying, like, compared to where he was at the start of the season and earlier on in the campaign, he'd be one that would come straight back in if he was available. Be interesting.
Well, it would, yeah. In a three, I can only see him playing in the middle. Do I want him there instead of Adofin? Now, Adofin possibly could play on the right. That's a legitimate thing. But do you want to take Adofin out of the middle right now? He is suffocating every centre forward that he's coming up against. Again, it's last Saturday, and he was on the right at Doncaster, wasn't he? So it was irrelevant there. Quite why we had Longwick in the centre at Doncaster, and that never made sense, and it looks even more silly in the two games since then when they've been the other way round. I mean, for me, long term, I still think we have to go to a back four. I will cover it in the next podcast, but this squad hasn't got the depth to do 8 games in 29 days, which is what it's got to do from Good Friday onwards in this formation, because he won't use Shaden Morris in this formation. He doesn't trust him. That's why he's literally got a matter of minutes since we've gone back to this formation. Seemingly, he doesn't want to use Cohen Bramall. He's not even on the bench at the moment. Izzy Jones seems to be in the bad books as well. He's been dropped out of trace. Joe Johnson's not really suited to this. That's why Cal Naismith's the left centre-back. Whereas if you put them into a back four, all of a sudden Morris can join with Codger down the right-hand side. Bramall can join with Lawrence down the left-hand side. Joe Johnson can play left-back. Cal Naismith can play left-back. You've got a lot more options for 8 games in 29 days, of which some of them are massive magnitudes in terms of emotional highs and lows, like Wembley, like the Good Friday game against Peterborough, and all of these games. But we're doing Stockport, and we'll be in a back three, and we'll be in the same formation. And I'm with you. I don't think there'll be too many changes. I think we go just one last time here, and he might need to use substitutions earlier. And if he has to, then he has to. But you look at who he had on the bench last night: Vandenberg, Richards, Elijah Adebayo, Shaden Morris. If we do change formation during the state of the game, these are game changers that are coming on, and obviously Sandow and Johnson are there to shore things up should things be going right. He's got the options, but he's also got a team that's working. Clark and Palmer were enjoying themselves last night. Cole seems to be getting the idea of where them two are putting the ball. Lawrence is having the time of his life when we go forward. Codger was all right when we went forward last night. He's not a wing-back. Of course he's not. Can't expect him to be. It's not what he is. And we're going to have the defensive frailties, and let's hope we can stop the ball getting to Wootton. And if we do, and someone can stay on Norwood, maybe that is why Savile's in the team on Saturday. Man-to-man marking job on him. Just snuff him out of the game. Don't do nothing else. Take a nice corner and a nice free kick. But wherever he goes, you follow.
Yeah, stand on his toes all afternoon and don't let him out of your sight. Yeah, I would be up for that. Absolutely. I think he's worthy of close attention, Norwood. I think he's a fabulous player.
You got to respect the class in the opposition. You do. You have to. And he's had a career that is worthy of that. He's played in the Premier League for God knows how many years. We come up against him in the Championship quite a few times, and now we're coming up against him in League One. Listen, if you want to be injured again, pal, you be my guest, because it makes the afternoon an awful lot easier, that's for sure. It's that time again, Jimbo.
Jimbo, master of reverse psychology.
Score prediction. What are we going with? Luton v Stockport.
Well, man, I'd kind of pied it off a little bit because we didn't seem to be going anywhere. But this is a big opportunity, isn't it? But I think that strengthens the reverse psychology for the win mantra, doesn't it? So let's go for 2-1 because nobody's keeping a clean sheet here.
2-1 to Stockport.
Reverse psychology for them.
He should say. I'm going the same. But the other way around, obviously. I'm going Luton to win this game. We don't keep clean sheets. There's no point in considering that anymore. If we're not keeping a clean sheet against Exeter, no disrespect to them, but they hadn't scored in however many games I said they hadn't scored in away from home. Then we're not keeping one against Stockport when they've got the second top scorer in the division coming to town. But we can get a couple of goals here and hit them with these two wide players, Jack. You know the way forward. We've done it so superbly at their place. Get Lawrence and Codger on their back line rather than the other way round. Good things will happen.
And what that does as well, as we saw against Exeter, is if we aren't creating chances, we're winning corners, and then we're really good at corners. So it's win-win.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a shame that Stockport have changed their goalkeeper. If you saw the goal that Burton scored against them, where the goalkeeper let the ball run out and it never ran out, and Matey had an absolute tap in, we could have done with that. We also had that same goalkeeper at their place. For some reason, didn't wear a cap in the sun when Bramall's free kick was coming in his direction, and he never saw it at all, and it ended up in the top corner. So, let's hope it's sunny and that geezer's back in goal. Don't know if he will be or not, but it doesn't matter. 2-1 for me, 2-1 reverse psychology for Jimbo. Get your score predictions in for this one. You've got as much time as I think we've ever given you to do your score predictions for this one. And of course, if you get the right result, we'll give you 3 points when we do the review episode for this one, which will be recorded Sunday and out to you on Monday morning, as is always the case. The next time Jimbo and myself will be talking about Luton versus Stockport will be a trip to Wembley. Over 25,000 tickets have been sold to Wembley, and it only went on general sale today, Jimbo.
It's a great effort, isn't it? Were you in any doubt that that ends selling out? course it is. We love a day out at Wembley.
We do indeed, yeah. If you haven't worked out yet how to get to Wembley, or how best to get to Wembley, obviously parking prices and things like that and train fares are really expensive. The Bobbers Travel Club are running coaches to the game. If you're a regular on the Bobbers Travel coach and you want to go to this game, you need to book in a different way this time around. The club are handling all bookings to Wembley. So you need to either log into your Luton Town ticket account or go to the ticket office in person to book your ticket. If you are travelling with people and you want to travel together, you all have to get on at the same stop. So what I deduce from that is that the coaches are going from each stop straight to Wembley rather than going through all the villages and everything that they usually do. If you check out the link on the website, which is www.lutontown.co.uk/en/news/book the Bobbers for Wembley, we'll put that link on the show notes. You'll get all of the information and everything there. So there is an option, and the club and Bobbers are keeping coach prices to £25 per person, which is pretty decent for coach travel these days, particularly with the rising fuel costs because of what's going on elsewhere in the world. So if you haven't yet worked out how to get to Wembley, there is an option. Book the coach, let them take all the strain, and led to believe that they're aiming to have every Luton fan at Wembley Stadium by 12:30, traffic permitting.
Where's everyone drinking beforehand? Put that in the comments.
Where are you buying me a pint beforehand, Jimbo?
Wherever you're buying me a pint.
Well, I'll happily replicate that. Yeah, we'll have to work that out as well, and it'd be great to meet lots of you guys that are that watch this podcast, because we know that lots of you do so. Lots of you speak to us before games. Someone said to me yesterday that they've come over from Belgium and they watch the podcast and thanked us for being their eyes and ears. So you're more than welcome, and thank you for coming up and speaking to me. In fact, where does everyone watch us from? That'd be interesting to know, wouldn't it?
There's a few around the world, isn't there? A couple of Australia people in Australia that have watched it now. Yeah.
And if you're overseas and you're coming to Wembley, let us know and we'll give you a shout out.
Why not?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a right effort, isn't it, to come from overseas to Wembley. Have you got something you want to plug?
Yeah, I have. I plugged it a couple of podcasts back, but as we're in Marsh House today and always for our fantastic studio, thanks to the team here, they are a grassroots music venue as well. So this Friday is their Friday night live sessions. They've got the Blues Movement on in here. It's £5 entry, and the link is in our show notes.
Should just say, if you're booking a Bobbers coach to Wembley and you normally get on at Junction 11, you need to be the Travel Lodge side of Junction 11 for this game, not the school side as you normally would be. Travel Lodge side, please. Also, tickets remain on sale to our solid event on Monday night with Paul Benson, Jake Howes, Ronnie Henry and Alex Lawless. They do go off sale on Friday afternoon, so if you haven't got your ticket yet, do get that. You can get that from the Trust website. The booking link is on there. That should be a really good evening. We're going to talk lots about the academy. We're going to talk lots about that conference winning season. And most importantly, we're going to hopefully raise lots of money for Solid, who are doing fantastic things for the academy and hopefully bringing through more and more of the players that we've seen over the course of this season.
Yeah, it makes sense, because that's a good crop of youngsters they've got at the moment.
Certainly is, and we'll hear all about them and plenty more on Monday evening if you're in attendance. That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks to everyone for all of your support. We've gone a little bit over the hour, but it's the only podcast you're getting for the remainder of the week. As I said, we'll be back with you on Monday morning with a review of what we hope will be 3 absolutely massive points against Stockport County in what is not El Hattico and is what is not a dress rehearsal for Wembley. It is a massive game of League One football. I reiterate, if you are at Kenilworth Road on Saturday afternoon, get right behind these boys. We have created a chance for ourselves, or rather teams have left themselves around for us to have a chance of making the playoffs. And if we win on Saturday, we can only enhance that chance even further. So be loud, be proud, and make it one of those great Kenilworth Road occasions. And give him some fun.
Set piece again, ole ole.
Don't quit your day job, Jimbo. Thanks to everyone here at Marsh House, the home of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast. Always appreciate your support, guys, not least this last few weeks where we've been in here seemingly every day. That also goes to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music. As always, until next time, where hopefully we're talking about a third straight Luton win in succession from Jimbo and myself. Come on, you Hatters, loud and proud on Saturday.